What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I wanted to rant a little bit on Telltale. I thought of them a little while ago, and I thought, you know what, we're in 2024. The last time I believe I talked about Telltale and The Wolf Among Us 2 was actually, think back in October, and it's when we started to hear that layoffs were impacting them too. And, if you missed that kind of arc of Telltale, so obviously, they're back and maybe better than ever, at least that's what we thought, making Wolf Among Us 2. And then there was an employee that was fired. Now, there was many of them, that were laid off, but he took to Twitter and he talked about how basically all of Telltale was laid off and, doesn't very much have confidence for Wolf Among Us or, projects that Telltale is doing. I freaked out about it. I think a lot of people panicked because, as we know, the gaming industry has had some layoff problems, right? It's had studios close down. It's had games be canceled. And, Telltale is not necessarily like the strongest, right? They went bankrupt. They went away. They got bought. They came back. They make, in collaboration with Deck 9, they make the Expanse game, which I don't feel like did all that well, both critically, but more importantly than critics, commercially, right? Sales. So I don't know if they're like in great financial standing, but Telltale ended up doing a response to that because everybody was kind of talking about it. They did say that people were laid off. They didn't say how many, but they did say all their projects were unaffected. So that's the catch up, right? That was back, I believe, in the fall. I think it was October to be a month specific. But since then, we've heard nothing. Now, you could say, well, Alex, it's February. I just get more worried by the month, though, right? Because things are not exactly getting better in the gaming industry. And yes, granted, just because, you see Embracer implode and all these different companies, laying off people, just because it happens to one doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen to Telltale. But I would maybe throw in some 2 cents to say it is an industry problem. You're seeing a lot of issues. You're seeing a lot of people, like I said, the sad reality of the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever you want to say, studios being closed down, games being canceled. I worry for this game because, and we've talked about actually, Wolf Among Us 2, if it does come out, I feel like that is quite literally, and it's not even exaggerating, make or break. If that game, and I mainly mean financially, right, sales, if the game does not make them money or doesn't make them, I would say, a considerable amount of money, I think they're done. And I know that's quite extreme, but again, like, this is a company that wasn't all that well off, several years back, obviously went through some stuff, but like, this is it because you had The Expanse, but like, you don't know anything else that they're doing besides Wolf Among Us. So even if this game does come out, which I pray to God every day that this game does come out, even if it does come out, all eyes are on it and it needs to do well, which means, in my opinion, the game needs to be a very good game. Now, I'm not necessarily rushing them. It's why I would classify this more as like a rant or me just kind of like letting this all out there, right? Look, I don't want the game out when it's not ready. Like, I don't want people jumping to that assumption, right? The best case scenario for me would be just some sort of update. Yes, would it be nice to get this game out this year? Yes. Is it supposed to come out this year? It sure is. Was it supposed to come out last year? It sure was. You know what I mean? So, like, all things considered, I sure want it this year, but I mean, if it doesn't come out this year, honestly, that's no big deal. At this point, because of the uncertainty with the game industry, and because of the uncertainty with Telltale, because they never really went all that much in depth back in the fall, I just want some sort of update. And I wish, to be honest, and maybe this is like a far, reaching thing that just will never happen, and I guess I'd be generally okay with it because it is what happens now. I would like every so often, whether it's not monthly, but maybe every half year or something, I'd love studios to almost do like a wellness check, right? You don't have to show anything if you don't want to. You don't have to announce a game. You don't have to release a game. I'm not saying any of that, but just as simple, is the game okay? Like, let's go over what you've publicly announced. How's it going? I think that would be quite helpful. And I mean, I look at it as like a content creator that, I mean, I do want to cover Wolf Among Us, but honestly, like, for a game like this, and if you watch my channel, you might know how important the franchise is, and I love the first game. I love it to death. So I mainly am saying this as like just a human being, a gamer that wants really good games. I actually have a lot of faith that the game can be very good. If they, allow the game to come out, I think this game will stand a chance, can stand a chance. I think the game can be really good. So just from like the gaming side of me, with my whole, far-reaching idea, I would just like it just so that I can kind of keep an eye on all these games that I am genuinely interested in. I will pay, I will support, I'll do whatever needs to be done, right? I just kind of want to know if they're okay. So Wolf Among Us, I'd say is like right up there. Something like maybe like the KOTOR remake would be a good one, but specifically Wolf Among Us, for this video, I think it's getting to the point, and it's tough, and I don't want to like make this come across the wrong way. They need to say something. And again, I mean that as I'm not rushing them to release it. If they want to release it in 2025, by all means, go ahead. But I do think it's getting to the point where I'd say they've lost most of like any anticipation, any hype, because it's been so long since we saw it. And then the last news hits, I guess, from them was layoffs. It wasn't even, talking about the game. And also, again, this is a special case. It was supposed to come out last year. Now it's coming out this year. So you have that. Like, we're already past its initial, when it was supposed to come out. We're in the year it's supposed to come out. I mean, if we don't see it this year, I would like set off some alarm. I would say this is a major, emergency. As of right now, yes, we're only in month 2, but you know what? We're halfway through the month, and I could see this going, and not hearing about this game until April, May, June. And then when do they even do it? Do you do it like on your own? Do you do it at like a summer game fest? Do you partner with a Sony or, Microsoft? Like, what do you do? I just want it. Again, that's why I'm just kind of letting the emotions out, just kind of going on a rant. I hope we see it this year. Of course, I hope it releases this year, but I just want to hear about it. Like, I just want to know it's okay. I feel like they would have definitely told us if it was canceled, but yet again, I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. The KOTOR remake is actually a good example of that, right? They haven't said it. Telltale, they say all their projects are unaffected. If you believe them just at their word, then it's literally still happening. But we're in the year it's supposed to release, and we're a year past when it was supposed to release. So what's going on? And I think that kind of adds a little bit of urgency to say something. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.